Hey, Thanksgiving week, time to make those crusts for you. Hey, Thanksgiving week, today's the day we're going to make our pastry crust. Hey, Thanksgiving week, and today's the day we're going to make the pastries for our pie crust because we want to do that a few days ahead of time. Let it all mix together. We use Alton Brown's recipes for a lot of cooking in our family because the guy can do no wrong. My mom's mixing bowl, I love it. She has the nesting ones with each one being a different color. They use some all vegetable shortening, organic. We're using organic all-purpose flour. We're using some sea salt right here. Kosher sea salt, tiny bit of organic cane sugar, and butter. I like to buy imported butter, or if we had any here on the Outer Banks, homemade butter, I would buy it, but we do not. So I buy either French or Danish or Irish. So I'm making a lot of pies, so I'm going to double the recipe for the pastry. Alton wants us to have 6 ounces of butter. This is a package of 8 ounces. See, I'm cutting it up. So there's our 12 ounces by weight of butter in the bowl, cut up into little pieces. Now we're going to add the shortening. Mr. Alton wants 4 ounces of shortening. Remember, I am doubling because I'm making a lot of pies. So now I'm going to chop that up. Alrighty, we've added our 2 tablespoons of sugar, our teaspoon of salt, actually 2, and our 24 ounces of flour. Remember, I doubled everything. A lot of times when I'm just doing this recipe for Donnie and myself, I'll cut the original recipe in half, but I'm going the other way and had to actually switch bowls to another family cool crockery bowl because I'm not used to doing so much. But it's Thanksgiving, lots of pies. And I'm going to mix. Now Alton actually does his mixing for this in a food processor, but I do not have a food processor. I have a mixer and a blender, but not a processor. So, and I sort of like to do this with my hand pastry blender. And so I will be back and get everything really well blended. If you have a food processor, go ahead and use it. I just don't. Now we're ready for our last ingredient. And it would be vodka. Now, Alton uses Apple Jack when he's baking an apple pie, and I happen to be baking an apple pie, but I'm also going to be baking some other pies. So I'm using plain vodka. It's going to cook away, so don't worry about your... So I had to add a couple more little tiny splashes of vodka to get those pieces in the bottom that, like I said, you could work them in, but you don't want to do that. You want them just to ease in. And better to start off with a little less vodka than you think you'll need and add to, rather than have it be too soupy wet. So we're perfect now. We're going to get it finished formed up and into shapes, and I'll show you that in a second. So I'm dividing my big ball of lightly blended together, very lightly. Remember, once we start adding the liquid is where we start talking about light touch. I've divided my big ball into, actually I've got 7 little balls by weight on our handy dandy scale, and we're going to form them into nice little patties like so. Wrap them in some plastic. So we've got our pastry patties in Ziplocs surrounded by wax paper because I'm not a real big fan of plastic, but we need it. I'm going to put them right into our refrigerator. Like our cool refrigerators under the counter. We think they're fabulous. And I'm done with that. There they go. The basic recipe one more time if you want it is, let me read it to you, 6 ounces of butter, 2 ounces of shortening, 12 ounces of flour, this is all by measurement, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and then you're going to add 5 to 7 tablespoons of liquid. It doesn't have to be vodka, it can be milk, it can be water, but vodka's going to make it flaky.